Bring your smart home to life this holiday season with lighting options for indoors and outdoors. Today I'm going to show you some of the lighting that I'm using this season. Let's take a look. I think a great place to start is in front of the Christmas tree. I'm in my basement and this is an artificial tree. We have a real tree upstairs as well on my main floor, and I'll show you that one afterwards. If this tree looks familiar, then you may have caught my video from last month where I compared Twinkly, Govee, and Nanoleaf lights. These are Nanoleaf lights on here right now. In my original video, I had one set of string lights and now I have two. And let me tell you, doubling the number of string lights makes a big difference. This is, I think, a 7-foot tree, so 2 sets of string lights is the perfect amount for this tree. With Nanoleaf string lights, you can't map individual lights and you can't connect the string lights together, but they look nice when playing the same scene. Here's a few of my favorites. One of the reasons I went with Nanoleaf down here is because I have some other Nanoleaf products as well, and they look nice when played together. I've got some Nanoleaf lines behind this Christmas tree that you can see, and then down the hallway I've got some ultra black triangles. Along the top of this cabinet I've got some garland with some standard LEDs, and I've got them connected to a smart plug. Having a smart plug is a great way to bring some standard items into Apple Home. I have a ton of smart plugs that really don't get a lot of use most of the year, but around Christmas, I definitely put them to work. I have these connected to a Wemo Thread smart plug that works in Apple Home, and it's actually worked really well. If I sound surprised, it's because I haven't had a lot of luck with Wemo in the past. Their Wi-Fi smart plug has not been very good, and even some of their other thread-based products that they've released, like their dimmer switch, not great, and their Thread Scene Stage Controller is just downright awful. But this smart plug has actually been quite reliable. You may have also noticed E-flare along the top of this cabinet. I've got a few of them, and these are battery operated LED lights. They're 90 lumens, so not terribly bright. This time of year, I just have them connected to their base, so I don't have to worry about charging them. And yeah, they just look nice here. And just a couple more lights to show you over here. I've got the Divoom Pixu 64, so if you're into pixel art, there's tons to choose from. Right now I've got this cool Winnie the Pooh winter scene that I put up here for my kids. And then I've also got some Yeelight cubes. This uses the Yeelight Station app, and there's lots of great designs that you can build. I've got just a little candy cane here, but definitely lots of options and adds just a little bit of color and interest here, especially during the holidays. I've also got a light strip along the bottom of this cabinet. If you didn't already know, I love light strips. This is the Nanoleaf Essentials Home Kit light strip. Right now, I'm just using the adaptive lighting feature, but it's of course RGB, so you can change the color, and it's got really nice whites as well. Few things are simpler or more basic than standard smart light bulbs. Here in this lamp, I'm using 3 Nanoleaf Essentials lights. These are the HomeKit version, not the Matter version. I find the HomeKit version to be more reliable right now, and it also has adaptive lighting, a feature that's not available with Matter, at least not as of right now. All of my pot lights are controlled using Lutron Caseta, except this one up here. This is a Philips Hue 4-inch retrofit downlight, so it does require a can. It's not one of the new slim LEDs. But I can control it using the Lutron Aurora as well, which is really helpful. And it's nice just to have a little bit of color over here to fit into my different scenes. Okay, I've got 2 more light strips that I want to show you on this cabinet over here. The one at the top is an addressable light strip by Govee. This is the M1 and it works with Matter. It's actually one of the more reliable Matter products that I've used. This light strip is really bright, the colors are fantastic, some really great scenes with Govee as well. One of my favorite light strips. No adaptive lighting and the whites are just kind of so-so, but especially if you're into color or just like white light, then this is a good light strip. At the bottom, this one is Colo Light. It's also addressable, not nearly as bright as the Govee. In general, it's just nice to have a bit of light and color over here on this part of the room and fit it into my different scenes. Probably my favorite product are Nanoleaf Ultra Black shapes. These are the triangles, and they also have hexagons that came out earlier this year. I'm hoping to get my hands on those soon. It's a personal preference whether you like the white or the ultra black, but I think they look nice, and even when turned off, they just add a little bit of contrast against the wall. It may depend on the color of your wall or just your personal taste as to which one you like better. But lots of really great scenes. This is just a standard Christmas scene that I have here, but it blends in nicely with my other smart lighting down here, especially my other Nanoleaf lights. Over here, I've just got a plug-in birch tree with these LEDs on it, and I brought it into Apple Home using a smart plug. This one's connected to the Meross Matter smart plug, and unfortunately, this isn't one I can recommend right now. It's constantly non-responsive. In fact, I'll probably be switching this out very soon with something better, Eve Energy, for example. I do have a Meross smart plug connected to the Divoom Pixo 64 that I showed you earlier. I think I forgot to mention that. That's how I bring that into Apple Home. That one works quite well, but it's something to do with this Matter smart plug. It's just not quite ready yet. I don't think it's this particular one that I have either, because I have tried another Meross Matter smart plug and it's the same thing. Not too many smart lights in my studio, but I do have these Nanoleaf hexagons that wrap around my sound panels and kind of down my desk. I also have a Nanoleaf Essentials light strip, the HomeKit version, along the back of this long desk. Just adds a little bit of light and some Christmas cheer in this case to those late night edits. Before I show you my main floor, let's take a look outside. These are the Govee Outdoor Permanent Lights Pro, and they work with Matter. The idea is I won't have to take them down and reinstall them each year. I'll keep you all updated on how well they hold up over the Canadian winter. I love that these are super bright. I got the 100-foot version that was more than enough for all the lights you see here with lights to spare. The kit includes your lights, the power supply, and even wire cutters if you need it. The LEDs simply adhere to your soffits, though they do include clips, and I feel like it's a good idea to install them. I actually wish there were more clips, as I only had enough to install along the top of my house. The installation was quite simple, though since I wasn't comfortable doing this myself on the peaks of my home, I hired a professional. The company is called Sent by Santa, and they did a great job. I'll leave a link in the description for anyone that happens to be in the greater Kingston area, but there should be options in your area if you do a Google search. Just be mindful that some companies are selling and installing their own permanent lights, so check that you can provide your own lights to install. The Pro lights come in both black and white, which I didn't realize when Govee sent them to me. The black still looks nice, but I definitely would have gone with white to match my soffits had I known at the time. With these lights you get good colors and also nice whites, which is important for the times of year where you don't want holiday lighting. Some of my favorite scenes even for Christmas are white, like this winter scene, so the extra white chip on here is helpful. If you're familiar with Govee, then you already know that there's lots of options to choose from bright and flashy to something a little more subtle. You can create your own scene and choose your own colors, so the possibilities are endless. Since these work with Matter, you can control them in Apple Home, and I have had some issues here. They work well in the Govee app, but Apple Home can still be a little hit and miss. Most of the time, it doesn't bother me because I create a schedule in the Govee app, but after the holidays, I may want to use this motion sensor, so it'll need to be reliable in Apple Home first. I absolutely love these lights, and I'm glad I won't have to take them down and then put them up again next Christmas. I also have these Govee string lights here. These are indoor and outdoor rated, so they can handle the cool, damp weather. Again, really bright colors. Check out my holiday string video for more information. Lastly, outside is this tree with standard LED lights, and I brought it into Apple Home using an outdoor smart plug designed specifically to handle the elements. This is the Lutron Caseta outdoor smart plug. Ask anyone, Lutron Caseta is the best of the best, though they're best known for their smart switches. Lutron Caseta has the most reliable products that I've ever used and have their switches all through my home, so it's been well tested. To use this smart plug or any Caseta device, you do need the Lutron bridge. Lutron uses what they call their Clear Connect technology, and it's the key to their reliability. The range is about 30 feet from the bridge, but I've got devices further than 30 feet and I haven't had any issue. If you do have issues though, you can get an extender, and because you're outside, you definitely want to make sure that you've got a good connection. Aside from reliability, this thing is well built and it's definitely heavier than other devices that I've used. It's IP66 rated, and it can handle temperatures from -20 degrees Celsius all the way up to 50 degrees Celsius. It doesn't get below -20 very often, but when it does, I'll certainly be testing that out. In Canada, I need a smart plug that can handle the elements during the holiday season, and so far, this one's worked perfectly. Over here, I've got this light up snowman decoration. Forgive him for missing his nose, he's still pretty cute, I think. I've got this attached to a SwitchBot smart plug and it works well. In my hallway, I've got this console table with this Meross lamp. It's an RGB lamp, so I can have different colors based on the scene that I'm using. And then on the back of this table, I've got the Aqara T1 light strip. It's an addressable light strip. It actually works really well, but I think it looks best with just a static color. Just a personal preference for me with that light strip. but certainly a good light strip for anyone looking for something basic. In my den, I've got some more smart lighting. I've got this TV with a chameleon light strip from Onvis. It works well, another addressable light strip. And then in this lamp, I'm using a LifeX bulb. I like the LifeX bulbs, but for the price point, it's not as good as something like Philips Hue, which uses Zigbee instead of Wi-Fi. And there's also no adaptive lighting here, which is a little disappointing. Now, in this room, it works for me, so it's fine. And it's always good to test out different light bulbs. Most of my overhead light is controlled using Lutron Caseta, but these kitchen island pendant lights are Philips Hue GU10 bulbs. These are the white ambiance, so no color, but I can change the color temperature. So in Apple Home, these are grouped together and I can change the light from a warm white all the way to a cool white, which works well in this room, and most of the time I'm using adaptive lighting. Nanoleaf Essentials is now selling their own GU10 bulbs that are RGB. I am interested to try them, but it means I will lose the function of this Lutron Aurora. I absolutely love these Aurora switches. They make it really easy to control the lights. With Lutron Aurora, I can turn the lights off. I can also turn them on or just dim the lights. Another Philips Hue product over here, this is the Retrofit 4-inch downlight. It's RGB, so I can change the color, which is really nice. Most of the time I'm using adaptive brightness. I do use that a lot in my home. Speaking of Nanoleaf though, they've also just released an Essentials 4-inch downlight. It's a slim pot light, so this one is a retrofit. It required a can. With the slim downlight, I won't have to worry about that. So I'm excited to try that out. Though again, with Nanoleaf, I will lose that functionality of the Aurora switch, which I really like. I've got another tree to show you, and this is maybe my favorite one. This one's made with Nanoleaf triangles, and just check out how cool this looks. I'm using this as accent lighting in my dining room, but if you're in a small space, maybe in an apartment without a lot of room, then I think this could work as your real tree and definitely be a conversation piece. Right now, I'm just using a static pattern that kind of resembles a Christmas tree. But of course, there's some other cool effects like this jungle scene, which I think works well on this tree. If you want something a little bit more bold for Christmas, then there's just this regular Christmas scene. And I'm also really liking this ice castle scene. With Nanoleaf shapes, there's so much you can do. You can really get creative, and it's especially fun, I think, over the holidays. Over here along my patio door, I've got these LED lights. I think this is a decoration I picked up from Pottery Barn one year. Here, again, I'm using a smart plug to bring these into Apple Home. In this case, I'm using Eve Energy, which has been my favorite smart plug for a long time. Whether it's the HomeKit version, whether it's the HomeKit version that's been upgraded to Matter, or the Matter out of the box version, they seem to work well. Eve products do tend to be an exception to some of the Matter issues that I've been experiencing. You do pay a little bit more for Eve Energy, but for those places where it really needs to work, Eve Energy is a good investment. Over here on this cabinet, I'm using a Sengled light strip. I have it installed all around the back and then even along the bottom of the cabinet, so it provides light all around. The light strip connects to Apple Home via this Sengled bridge. It uses Zigbee, so it's really reliable. And then over here, I've got this birch tree, which is connected to an Eve Energy smart plug, so again, it works well. Over here in this lamp, I'm again using some Nanoleaf Essentials A19 bulbs. This is the HomeKit version, so I've got the adaptive lighting and a little bit more reliable than the Matter ones that I've talked about already. And then behind me, another Nanoleaf light. This is their 4D light strip. For those looking for a more immersive experience, then the 4D light strip is a nice option. You can see the camera here. It's gonna analyze what's on your TV screen and then extend those colors beyond your screen onto the wall. There's 4 different levels of immersion, just depending on what you're looking for. I have tested it and it seems to work well, though most of my movie watching happens in my basement where I have a larger TV. And the larger version of this light strip, the 85-inch version, isn't available right now in Canada. It's been sold out for a while. I will eventually get my hands on that and test it out, so stay tuned for some more content on that eventually. As you would expect from Nanoleaf, there's lots of scenes to choose from, including some rhythm scenes if you want it to play to the beat of the music. But it also looks nice with just a static light behind your TV like you're seeing right here. Over here along this console table, I've got this LED cluster. This is connected to a Philips Hue smart plug, a great option for anyone who already has the Hue bridge. I've got this Meross oil diffuser over here. It does have an LED light on it, but it's really not going to do much for you, though you can diffuse some nice oils like these holiday options from Sage. This tree over here is battery operated, so nothing HomeKit to talk about there. And installed along the bottom of the top of the cabinet is a Nanoleaf Essentials Matter light strip. So no adaptive lighting and not quite as reliable as the HomeKit version. There's another Meross lamp over here to add a little bit of light to this part of the room. Over here on this cabinet behind my record player, I've got a Govee M1 light strip. A great light strip with some really cool effects, including some music effects, so I can play a record and have a really cool scene play. Okay, over here on my Fraser fir, I've got Twinkly strings, 1600 LEDs on this 8-foot tree. I like a lot of lights, so 1600 seems like a pretty good number, though I could honestly see myself adding even more in the future. This is my first time using smart lights on a Christmas tree. In the past, I've just used a smart plug with standard LEDs. That's a great option, definitely more economical, but this does take it to the next level. I'm using the Multicolor Plus White. This is definitely the one I recommend. It gives you the most versatility. It's got the RGB plus an extra warm white chip, so you've got nice whites and colors at the same time. The great thing about Twinkly is that you can map your lights. So it doesn't matter how many boxes of lights you installed or how you installed them. At the end, you're gonna map those lights using the Twinkly app so that the app knows exactly where each of those lights is on the tree, and then it'll synchronize your effects. Here's a few of my favorite effects. One of the downsides with Twinkly though is you can't include those scenes in Apple Home like you can with some other companies like Nanoleaf, for example. This means that within the Home app you can adjust the power, brightness, you can change the color, those basic things, but you can't activate one of those cool Twinkly scenes. Now you can include Twinkly in your existing HomeKit scenes, like I have it in my Good Night scene so it turns off at the end of the day. But if I'm activating just a regular scene and I want something different to play on the tree, then I'll just go into the Twinkly app and change it manually. It's really not the end of the world, and I can also schedule scenes to play within the Twinkly app. Here are two of my favorite holiday scenes that I use on my main floor. I hope you found this video helpful and maybe got some ideas for the next time you do your holiday decorating. That's it for this week. In fact, that's probably it for this year. Though follow me on Instagram, I'll occasionally post content over there. Wishing you and your family a happy holiday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.